Let me tell y'all something. Life will test you in ways you never saw coming. You'll be sitting there wondering why certain doors aren't opening, why people don't take you seriously, why respect feels like it's always being handed to somebody else. And in those moments, you can either sit around asking why me, or you can start standing up saying, watch me. See, the truth is, respect ain't something you demand, it's something you attract. It's tied to the way you walk into a room, the way you speak your truth, and yes, even the way you pray. Because trust me, when you got faith in your prayers, when you really believe that what you ask for is already being lined up for you, it changes how you carry yourself. I'm telling you, people can smell it. They know when you walk in heavy with doubt, and they know when you walk in lit up with certainty. That confidence, that glow, it don't come from money, it don't come from titles, it don't even come from talent alone. It comes from knowing you're covered, knowing you're guided, and knowing you ain't out here by yourself. Respect follows that. Now here's the thing, psychology got some powerful truths about human behavior. There are patterns that make folks stop and look at you differently. Not because you screamed for their attention, but because you stood in who you are so solid, they had no choice but to acknowledge it. Today, I'm about to break down 5 secrets that'll shift how people see you, how they treat you, and most importantly, how you see yourself. And if you can tie those secrets to the trust you got in your prayers, man, you won't just earn respect. You'll command it without even asking. Respect starts with how you carry yourself before you ever open your mouth. That may sound simple, but it's deeper than most people think. You see, before you even get the chance to show people what you know, what you can do, or what kind of heart you've got, they've already made a decision about you. People size you up in seconds. They're watching your body language, your posture, your energy. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you walk in slouched, eyes on the floor, mumbling your words, the truth is, folks ain't gonna see your value. They don't respect what doesn't respect itself. And that's where it all begins. Carrying yourself in a way that says, without words, I matter, and I know it. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room where somebody walked in, didn't say a single word, but everybody noticed? It wasn't the clothes, it wasn't the money. It wasn't the car keys jingling in their pocket. It was the way they carried themselves. Shoulders back, head high, moving with purpose. That kind of presence demands respect before a sound is made. And here's the thing, anybody can learn to carry themselves that way. It's not about being born with it. It's about practicing it until it becomes natural. Carrying yourself with respect means you honor yourself first. You don't let life beat you down so bad that it shows up in how you walk. You don't let rejection or mistakes define the way you see yourself, because the world's going to try to put labels on you. People are going to size you up, judge you, maybe even doubt you. But if you let that dictate your presence, you're handing your respect away before you even start. The secret is reminding yourself every single day that you belong. You've got something inside you that nobody else has. When you believe that, it leaks out of you without you saying a word. Now let me be real. It's not about arrogance. Walking around with your nose in the air, acting like you're better than everybody. That don't bring respect, that brings resentment. What I'm talking about is quiet confidence. The kind of confidence that says, I know who I am. I don't need to prove it, but I also won't shrink to make you comfortable. That balance right there, that's power. I remember times in my life when I didn't carry myself right. I'd let failure get heavy on me. I'd walk into opportunities already looking defeated. And you know what happened? People treated me like I was defeated. They mirrored what I was showing. But the moment I decided to shift my posture, lift my head, look folks in the eye, the game changed. Suddenly, conversations went different. People listened differently. Respect wasn't a fight anymore. It was a natural response. Psychology backs this up. The human brain reads body language before it processes words. In fact, most communication is nonverbal. So when you walk into a room, you've already sent a message without opening your mouth. If your message is insecurity, hesitation, or doubt, that's the respect you'll get back. None. But if your message is strength, certainty, and self-worth, People can't help but respond. It's like gravity. Let's talk about how you practice this. Start with your posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up, not in a fake way, but in a way that reminds you, I've got this. Practice looking people in the eyes when you speak, not in an intimidating stare down, but in a way that says, I see you, and I'm not afraid to be seen. Slow down when you talk. Folks respect someone who doesn't rush their words because it shows you're in control. Move with intention. Don't fidget. Don't shrink into corners. Don't apologize for taking up space. You deserve to be there just like anybody else. And let me connect this to something bigger, your prayers. When you trust in your prayers, when you truly believe that God heard you and is moving on your behalf, you stop carrying yourself like a victim. You stop dragging your past into every room. You stop apologizing for being here. You walk like somebody who knows their steps are ordered. You carry yourself like somebody who's backed by something greater than human approval. That's the deepest level of confidence. People respect what they don't always understand, and when they see that light in you, they can't help but respond to it. Respect is contagious. The way you carry yourself influences how others carry themselves around you. If you walk with slumped shoulders and low energy, people treat you like you're small. But when you walk in standing tall, they adjust to meet you at that level. They match your tone. They give you what you give yourself. And that's why this first secret is so powerful, because it sets the tone for everything else. Respect doesn't start with others. It starts with you. It starts with how you wake up in the morning, how you talk to yourself, how you show up even when nobody's watching. Carry yourself like you're worthy, and the world will reflect that back. Carry yourself like you matter, and people will treat you like you do. Carry yourself with faith, and respect will follow like a shadow you can't shake. People value authenticity more than perfection. That's something I had to learn the hard way, and I promise you, it's one of the biggest keys to earning real respect. See, for too long we've been tricked into thinking people will only respect us if we never show cracks, never make mistakes, and always look polished. But the truth is, perfection makes people suspicious. Perfection feels fake. What people actually respect is when you're real, when you can stand in your own skin, flaws and all, and not apologize for being human. Think about the folks you admire most. It's never the ones who look untouchable, who act like they never messed up, who try to paint a picture-perfect life. Those people might get attention for a while, but attention ain't respect. Respect comes from people saying, I see myself in you. Respect grows when people know you've been through something, you've struggled, you've failed, but you didn't hide it. You learned from it. That's where authenticity comes in. Now, authenticity doesn't mean telling your whole life story to everybody you meet. It's not about spilling every detail, every secret, every scar. It's about being consistent with who you really are. It's about not putting on a mask in one room, then switching it off in another. People respect those who show up the same, whether they're around strangers, friends, or leaders. Because when you're authentic, people can trust you. They don't have to guess who they're dealing with. And trust, my friend, is the foundation of respect. I'll be honest. There were times when I thought I had to impress people by putting on a version of myself that I thought they wanted. I'd hide my struggles, I'd dress up my words, I'd act like I had it all figured out. But deep down, it never felt right. And you know what? People could sense it. They may not have been able to point it out, but they knew something wasn't lining up. Authenticity can't be faked, and when it is, people pull back. But when I started showing up as myself, talking real, sharing the ups and the downs, that's when I noticed respect started coming without me chasing it. Psychology shows us that authenticity creates connection. When people see you as real, their brain relaxes. They don't feel like they have to perform around you, and that creates trust. Perfection, on the other hand, creates distance. If someone seems too perfect, it triggers doubt. Folks start thinking they're hiding something, or I can't relate to them. And the moment they can't relate, the respect they have for you weakens. Let's talk about what authenticity looks like in everyday life. It's admitting when you don't know something instead of pretending. It's saying, I made a mistake. Instead of trying to cover it up, it's laughing at yourself when you trip up instead of pretending it didn't happen. It's speaking in your natural voice instead of changing how you sound just to fit in. People respect honesty. They respect courage. And authenticity is both of those things rolled together. Now here's the beautiful part. Authenticity ties directly to trusting your prayers. When you trust in your prayers, you don't feel the need to impress everybody. You don't have to prove yourself every second of the day because you already know your worth doesn't come from their approval. You know you're guided. You know you're loved. You know your steps are ordered. That frees you to just be you. No extra mask, no heavy performance, just you. And that's when you shine the brightest. I remember moments when I wanted so badly to look strong, but I was crumbling on the inside. And then I realized strength isn't pretending you're unbreakable. It's being honest enough to say, I'm struggling, but I'm still standing. People respect that kind of honesty more than they respect a fake smile, because that honesty gives them permission to be real too. And once you create that kind of space, respect becomes natural. The world doesn't need another perfect act. The world needs more people willing to show up as themselves. More people willing to admit they've failed but kept moving. More people willing to say, here's who I really am, take it or leave it. Because here's the truth. When you're authentic, the right people will respect you even more, and the wrong people will remove themselves. And that's a blessing. Carrying authenticity is about courage. It's about saying, I may not have all the answers. I may not have it all together, but I'm real. And when people see that, they lean in. They respect you because they know they're not dealing with a performance. They're dealing with a person. And no matter how much the world changes, no matter how many trends come and go, that will always matter. So if you're chasing respect, stop chasing perfection. Start practicing authenticity. Show up in your truth. Speak in your truth. Walk in your truth. Trust your prayers. And let that faith carry you in a way that doesn't require approval. Because when you're real, respect isn't something you beg for. It's something you attract like a magnet. Listening deeply earns more respect than speaking loudly. That's something people often overlook. Because we live in a world where everybody's fighting to be heard. Folks think the louder they talk, the stronger they come across. They believe if they dominate the conversation, they'll win respect. But here's the truth. People don't remember the ones who talk the most. They remember the ones who made them feel understood. Respect grows when you stop trying to prove your point and start making room for someone else's. Have you ever sat with somebody who really listened to you? Not the kind of fake listening where they're nodding while waiting for their turn to talk, but the kind where you can feel they're paying attention. They're leaning in, they're looking at you. They're asking questions that show they actually care about what you're saying. That kind of listening is rare, and that's why it's powerful. People walk away from that kind of moment thinking, wow, they respected me enough to hear me. And guess what? They'll turn around and give you that same respect back. The mistake a lot of people make is thinking respect comes from being the smartest voice in the room. But psychology shows us that humans connect more through empathy than authority. When you listen deeply, you tap into people's emotions, and emotions are what drive trust and respect. Loud voices might grab attention for a moment, but deep listening leaves a lasting impression. Listening deeply isn't easy because it requires humility. It requires putting your ego aside. You have to be willing to not always have the last word, not always correct somebody, not always jump in with your own story. Sometimes respect comes from restraint. It's choosing to give someone else the spotlight and saying, I value you enough to just listen. That's a whole different level of respect, and people don't forget it. I had to learn this myself. I used to think if I didn't speak up, if I didn't push my point across, people would ignore me. But the opposite was true. The more I pushed, the less people cared. The more I slowed down and listened, the more doors opened. I realized that people don't always need advice. They don't always need solutions. They just need to feel heard. And when you give them that, you earn something stronger than attention. You earn their respect and trust. Think about how many relationships get broken, not because of big arguments, but because of little moments where somebody felt ignored. People don't forget how it feels to be dismissed. A child who isn't listened to by their parents carries that feeling into adulthood. A partner who feels unheard slowly loses trust. A team member at work who's constantly overlooked stops giving their best. All of that comes back to listening, if you want respect in any area of life. Family, friendships, business. Start by listening. Listening deeply is more than just hearing words. It's listening to the tone, the pauses, the things left unsaid. It's watching body language and picking up on what someone might be afraid to admit out loud. That's what makes someone feel truly understood. When you can reflect back not just their words, but their feelings, you show them that you care. And people respect those who care. And let me tell you, this connects directly to faith. When you trust your prayers, you also learn to trust the silence. Prayer isn't just about talking, it's about listening too. Listening for direction, listening for peace, listening for that still, small voice. When you practice listening in your spiritual life, it spills over into how you treat people. You stop needing to fill every silence with noise. You stop needing to control every conversation. You start realizing that wisdom often comes from patience, not from power. And people notice that. Respect doesn't always come from saying the right thing at the right time. Sometimes it comes from saying nothing at all. From sitting in the moment, letting someone finish their thought, letting them feel safe enough to open up. That's when respect grows. Because people trust those who don't rush them, don't dismiss them, and don't drown them out. Here's something I've noticed. The people who truly lead with influence aren't the ones shouting instructions. They're the ones who make others feel like their voice matters. That's how you build respect that lasts. You don't build it by forcing people to listen to you. You build it by showing people you're willing to listen to them. And once you practice listening deeply, it changes how people show up around you. They feel comfortable, they feel valued, they feel like they matter. And when people feel like they matter to you, they naturally give you respect in return. You don't even have to ask for it. It just happens. So many people are chasing respect by trying to talk louder, show off more, or take up more space. But the real secret sits in the quiet. It sits in the moments where you give somebody your full attention. It sits in the patience to let them be heard. That's when you stop being just another voice in the crowd and you become someone people actually look up to. Boundaries don't push people away. They pull respect towards you. That's something most people misunderstand. They think if they say no, if they stand their ground, if they protect their time and energy, they'll lose people. But the truth is, when you don't set boundaries, that's when you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you lose respect, not just from others, but from yourself too. People don't respect someone who lets everybody walk all over them. They respect someone who knows they're worth enough to draw the line. See, boundaries aren't about being cold, distant, or selfish. Boundaries are about saying, I value myself enough to protect my peace, my time, and my energy. You can love people and still tell them no. You can support people and still let them know there are limits. That's not pushing people away. That's teaching them how to treat you. And once you teach people how to treat you, they adjust. They may not like it at first, but deep down, they'll respect it. Think about it. Every strong relationship you've ever seen, whether it's family, friendship, or business, is built on boundaries. If there are no boundaries, there's chaos. Without boundaries, people take advantage even if they don't mean to. Without boundaries, you end up drained, resentful, and frustrated. And when you're living like that, people feel it. They don't look at you with respect. They look at you like a doormat. But the moment you stand tall and say, here's the line, here's what I can give, here's what I won't tolerate, everything changes. Psychology tells us that boundaries aren't about control. They're about clarity. People respect clarity because it makes them feel safe. When you don't set boundaries, you send mixed signals. One day you're fine with something, the next day you're upset about it. That confusion breeds frustration, and frustration destroys respect. But when you're clear about where you stand, even if people don't agree, they'll respect it because they know what to expect from you. Now, I'm not saying setting boundaries is easy. It's one of the hardest things to do, especially if you're used to pleasing people. Saying no feels uncomfortable. Drawing the line feels scary. But every time you choose your peace over people pleasing, you're teaching yourself and others that your respect matters. And the more you practice it, the easier it gets. I can tell you from my own life, there were times I let people take more than they should have, all because I didn't want to upset them. I thought keeping everybody happy was the way to keep respect. But all it did was leave me empty. And here's the kicker. The people I was bending over backward for didn't respect me more. They respected me less. Because I showed them I didn't respect myself enough to say no. But when I finally started setting boundaries, something shifted. Some people got upset, sure.